There's something exhilarating about the sport of lobster fishing. The thrill of diving into the ocean, discovering hidden crevices, and pulling out a fresh catch makes it one of the most rewarding activities for avid anglers and adventurers alike. The waters around Florida are teeming with Florida lobsters, or spiny crayfish, and while commercial lobstermen use traps and cages, sport fishermen are showing off their skills by diving in and catching these elusive creatures by hand. This sport, though exciting, isn't as simple as it sounds. Catching lobsters requires patience, skill, and a deep understanding of the creature's behavior. In Florida, we're blessed with abundant spiny lobsters, and catching them by hand, without spears or hooks, is the ultimate challenge. Divers often use traps with loops at the end of handles, which are placed behind the lobster's tail, and gently tightened. Nets are another method, where the net is placed at the entrance of a crevice and lobsters are carefully guided into it with a sculling stick. But the most satisfying and traditional method remains using your gloved hands, blocking the escape route and swiftly grabbing the lobster. Every diver has their own unique technique and methods for catching lobsters, and some are just more successful than others. I had the opportunity to speak with several seasoned lobster divers who consistently bring in large catches, and they shared some valuable tips for both beginners and experienced lobstermen. One of the key lessons I learned is to not waste time catching smaller lobsters. It's easy to get distracted, especially when a smaller lobster appears in front of you. But experienced divers know that focusing on the larger, more mature lobsters will give you the best catch. Keep your eyes peeled for those big, elusive creatures hiding in deeper crevices. Lobsters may not have great eyesight, but they're incredibly sensitive to movement. When diving, it's important to move slowly and calmly to avoid spooking them. One of the best tricks to grab a lobster is using a tickling stick. This tool helps guide the lobster towards your hand or net, allowing you to block its escape and grab it quickly. The stick's gentle pressure on the opposite side of the lobster helps move it in the right direction. The trick is to remain calm and avoid sudden movements. The tickling stick is a crucial tool in catching lobsters, especially when dealing with those hiding in rocky crevices or tight holes. This tool helps you gently coax the lobster out of its hiding place without scaring it too much, making it easier to approach and catch. When using the tickling stick, the goal is to get the lobster to move towards you without making it feel overly threatened. You must adjust the pressure on the stick, making it gentle but firm enough to push the lobster in the desired direction. Proper use will guide the lobster in the right way. Approach the lobster from the opposite side, applying gentle pressure to its body from behind. As you place the stick in, the lobster will react by moving towards you, at which point you can use your hand to grab it. Lobsters don't have great vision, but they are very sensitive to movement. If you move too abruptly, they will quickly retreat into deeper holes. The tickling stick helps you control the movement of the lobster, preventing it from getting spooked and running away. If you use the tickling stick correctly, you won't need to exert much energy trying to force the lobster out. It's an efficient way to get the lobster out without wasting effort. Reaching for a lobster can be tricky, especially when it retreats into deep holes or crevices. Once the lobster feels blocked from retreating with your tickling stick, it's time to reach for it. But remember, you don't want to grab the lobster by its antennae, as it may break. Instead, gently slide your hand down the antenna to the base and grip it carefully to avoid damage. After you've used the tickling stick to block the lobster's escape, if the lobster is still not moving out, you can use your hand to grab it. However, if the lobster feels too threatened, it will try to flee, so patience is key. Wait for the right moment when the lobster doesn't feel rushed. If the lobster starts moving from its hiding spot and approaches you, this is the ideal time to use your hand. Approach it gently and be ready to grab it when it gets close. Position your hand near the lobster's eye sockets and gently push it toward your hand. Try not to make your presence too sudden or noticeable. Once you have the lobster in your hand, hold it securely but gently. Don't squeeze too hard, as this could injure it or cause it to escape. Female lobsters often stand out because they carry eggs. You will see an orange mass of eggs underneath their abdomen. These lobsters should be returned to the water to ensure reproduction continues. To identify this, check the lobster's abdomen for eggs. If you spot the eggs, it's easy to recognize them. Returning egg-laying females helps protect the ecosystem and ensures a sustainable lobster population. In some areas, to protect egg-laying females, fishermen make a V-shaped notch in the tail of the female lobster. If you encounter a lobster with such a notch, you should release it back into the water because it's protected under conservation regulations. Lobsters come in various sizes, and fishermen generally only keep lobsters that meet the minimum legal size. Small lobsters are released to allow them to grow. These size regulations help maintain the lobster population in the wild. Lobsters are very sensitive, and they will flee if they sense danger. Patience is vital when trying to catch them. Make sure you have the necessary tools, such as a tickling stick, gloves, and a good dive light. These tools will help you catch lobsters more effectively and safely. Sometimes, lobsters become so deeply wedged into crevices that no amount of pulling will release them. The best method is to gently shake the base of the antenna to disorient the lobster, which will often make it loosen its grip and make it easier to grab. This technique works like a charm when the lobster is stuck and refusing to budge. When dealing with larger lobster holes, you'll often encounter multiple entrances. Deciding which side to approach is key to your success. Look for the back entrance or the exit where the lobster is more likely to retreat. Each situation will require a different approach, so be sure to choose wisely and take your time. A significant portion of lobsters you encounter will be egg-laying females. While it's tempting to catch them, it's essential to inspect their eggs. If you spot orange eggs, it's best to release the lobster back into the water. This not only saves you time but also helps ensure that lobsters continue to thrive in the ocean. The ocean is unpredictable, and it's important to maintain calm and focus when diving. If you panic or rush, you're more likely to make mistakes or miss a big catch. Slow, deliberate movements and steady hands are key to success. Lobster diving is often done in groups. Experienced divers understand the importance of teamwork. While one diver is busy guiding the lobster into the net or using the tickling stick, another diver can be ready to grab the lobster once it's within reach. Working in sync maximizes your chances of catching multiple lobsters in one dive. Before you go lobster diving, it's crucial to understand the regulations in your area. In Florida, for example, a special lobster fishing license is required, and there are strict rules on the size and number of lobsters you can catch. Always check local laws and ensure you're following them to protect the lobster population. Lobster fishing is not just a sport, it's a tradition that's been passed down through generations. Whether you're a young enthusiast diving for the first time or a seasoned lobsterman, the excitement of finding your first lobster, the joy of catching one, and the reward of sharing a meal together with family and friends make this sport a truly special experience. As we continue to dive into these adventures, it's important to respect the environment and practice sustainable lobster fishing. Whether you're catching lobsters for fun or as part of a commercial operation, always remember to practice conservation, respect the wildlife, and share the excitement of lobster fishing with others.